The call came to Earth, and the weight of the stars seemed to rest on human shoulders. For many in the galaxy, Earth carried a name that made them shiver. People whispered about a world of fire, storms, floods, ice, beasts, and unending trials. They said no one should have survived there, yet somehow humans did. They did more than survive, they thrived. When the Great Council called for an answer from Earth, every other people in the wide skies stopped and listened. They wanted to see if the whispers were true. Queen Alara walked forward as the chosen voice of her people. She wore a crown that was not made of jewels, but of forged steel, polished until it shined like a cold sun. Her steps were steady, her gaze level, and the chamber of rulers fell silent when she entered. Many in that place looked down, some even lowered their heads in fear. They had grown up in gentle worlds where the winds only sang softly, the rains watered rich crops, and danger was a rare memory. They could not understand how a human world raised people so hard and unbending. Beside the queen walked Captain Luke Ward, his stance strong and sharp. He had eyes that scanned the room like a watchful hawk and hands that never seemed to relax away from his weapon. On her other side marched Commander Julia Kane, who carried herself with precise grace. Every step of hers spoke of long years spent leading men and women into battle. A little farther back, but no less important, was Representative Darius Holt. He was rugged, broad-shouldered, and quiet. A scar stretched across his cheek, a mark left by battles fought long before. He did not wear robes like the other voices in the council. His clothing was plain and practical, his presence alone enough to fill the space. They had answered a summons that was not truly an invitation, but a demand. The council wanted to remind Earth of its place, or rather, the place they imagined for it. For too long, humans had pushed back frontiers, built ships that slipped through deadly void, and stood tall where others faltered. To the noble houses from distant worlds, such boldness was dangerous. It was not meant for a world known as the Deathworld, a cruel cradle that had shaped its people to resist, endure, and fight. The chamber walls rose higher than any palace on Earth, polished and shining. Row after row of seated rulers filled the hall. They looked down from their platforms while the queen and her company walked the long ground floor. Voices whispered like soft winds through a forest, though not in any peaceful way. Those whispers carried fear, mistrust, and quiet anger. Some hid it behind tight masks of pride. Others failed, letting their unease show clearly as their eyes followed the humans across the space. Queen Alara did not falter. Her dignity was a shield stronger than iron. She did not stride with arrogance, but with certainty, the kind of certainty that comes from generations who had woken to storms, earthquakes, roaring seas, and yet survived. The council that waited for her had never felt such fury from the natural world. To them, she seemed carved from the stone of her planet. To her they seemed soft, like clay untouched by fire. Luke remained close behind her, scanning every passage and every guard. Julia's eyes studied the height and depth of the chamber, marking every weakness, every path that could be closed or escaped through. Darius, calm but alert, waited for the moment his voice would be needed. Each of them carried with them the shadow of Earth itself, and that shadow weighed heavy over all who were present. The moment had arrived when Earth would finally face the council. The whispers spoke of violence, of pride, of will, and of fear. The only sound louder than those whispers was the echo of human footsteps, steady as a drumbeat of fate. A storm had entered the chamber, and nothing would ever be the same again. The chamber grew heavier when Queen Alara took her place at the center platform. The council lined itself and rose above her. Their eyes followed every movement of the humans with a mixture of anger and hidden fear. Many of them had lived their whole lives in worlds where danger was rare and comfort was plenty. They knew stories of Earth, but stories were easier to dismiss from the safety of distance. Now that the queen stood before them with her soldiers, the stories walked in flesh before their eyes. The chief herald of the council raised his voice, his tone sharp and commanding. He accused Earth of breaking order. His words claimed that Earth's ships had ignored laws, fought patrols, and challenged the authority of the stars. He said Earth must kneel, send tribute, and accept limits set upon them. When his words echoed off the walls, the chamber hummed with nods and approval from many rulers. They believed this demand would be enough to bring the humans to heel. Captain Luke Ward felt the muscles in his neck tighten, but he did not speak. Commander Julia Kane placed one hand calmly on the hilt of her side weapon, not because she planned to strike, but because she never felt at ease without readiness. Representative Darius Holt lifted his chin and waited for his moment to answer. His silence carried the weight of patience, but patience could break quickly if pressed. When the herald's voice finished, Darius finally stepped forward. His strong frame filled the air with a different kind of authority. His voice was low, but it carried across the chamber like the sound of a mountain breaking apart. "You accuse us of breaking order," Darius said. "We only defended ourselves. You send patrols to control our skies. We push them back. You send demands to kneel. We refuse. You call us dangerous because we are strong. We're strong because our world taught us to be strong. On Earth, no storm ever asked our permission. No fire asked our mercy. No hunger showed us kindness. We survived because we did not surrender. If you expect us to kneel now after that, you do not understand what it means to be human." The rulers stirred and whispered to one another in shock. Some laughed, mocking him with nervous voices, but their laughter never reached their eyes.
Alex.
Others grew red with anger, insisting that such words were insults to order and peace. Queen Alara watched them in silence. Oh, her silence was more powerful than shouts. She allowed her people to see her calm face, untouched by fear. The herald tried to regain control. He struck his staff down and declared that humans were wild. He said Earth must learn respect or be punished. His words carried threat, yet he trembled when he spoke them. Julia stepped closer to the queen, lowering her voice just enough for Alara and Luke to hear. "They do not understand us. They think weakness is peace." Luke kept his eyes on the guards who lined the walls. His hand hovered near his weapon belt, his jaw set. He knew the stares of the guards well. They were waiting, searching for an excuse to take action. The tension thickened in the chamber until it felt as if the air might tear apart. The rulers above threw more words against the Earth's delegation, but those words fell heavy and empty. Adaria stood still. Alara remained calm, and the soldiers beside her stood ready. Every person in that vast hall could see it. Humans were not afraid of punishment. Humans were not afraid of force. They had seen worse from nature itself. Then a young ruler from the highest row pointed to the humans with a sneer on his face. He shouted that Earth would be made an example, that its strength would be broken. His voice was full of pride, but thin with courage. None of his guards looked eager to test the claim. The queen only raised her head higher. The moment hung in the chamber, sharp and unmoving. The humans had spoken, and the council was left to decide if it would push them further. Everyone in that hall felt the storm gathering in silence, ready to break. Every guard in the room shifted, as if they had been waiting for a signal. Weapons were drawn in a single wave of movement. The council had chosen to act not with reason but with force. His hand went to his weapon with the speed of a man who had drawn thousands of times before. Commander Julia Kane stayed close to Queen Alara, her stance sharp and balanced, ready to strike or shield as needed. Representative Darius Holt did not move for a moment. His eyes scanned the guards as if measuring them like opponents in a ring. The fight began without warning. A guard rushed from the left, aiming his spear toward Alara. Luke was faster. The blow forced the guard back in shock. She caught the wrist of another guard aiming to strike her with a blade. She twisted at once, firm and sure, disarming him and sending him spinning to the ground. Darius charged straight into a cluster of three. Ow! His fists were all he needed. Another swung at him, but Darius caught the strike on his forearm and answered with a slam of his elbow. That ended the fight in a heartbeat. The third came at him with fear in his eyes, and that fear was proven true when Darius lifted him and threw him down with raw power. They had expected an easy show of control. Instead, they found themselves staring at Deathworld fighters who battled like storms made flesh. Queen Alara stayed at the center, unmoving, her face a mask of steadiness. She did not need to fight. Her warriors fought for her, and their strength was her shield. His weapon never wavered. Each shot timed to disable with clean success. Julia faced two at once in a blur of motion, her strikes fast and aimed to disarm more than kill. Darius became a wall, no one able to cross without being struck down. The humans moved like trained hunters, their focus and will poured into every strike. The guards began to falter, their confidence broken piece by piece. Now they learned that humans were controlled fury, strong because they had always faced greater dangers than this. She only looked into his eyes. That look stopped him with more force than any weapon. Luke was there in the next second, pressing him down with a sharp blow and sending him sprawling. Dozens of guards lay scattered across the chamber floor, groaning, defeated but alive. The Council of Rulers fell into silence again, yet this silence was colder and heavier than before. Queen Alara raised her chin higher, her voice steady and clear across the wide hall. The Council had tried to shame Earth, but had only proven what the Whispers had long declared. Humans from Earth did not break. They did not surrender. The floor was filled with fallen guards. Their armor was dented, and their pride was crushed. The sound of their defeat echoed louder than any words that had been spoken before. The great rulers looked down from above, their faces pale and shaken. They had seen many battles on screens and war reports, but never had they seen such power with their own eyes. Queen Alara stepped forward into the silence. Her steps rang against the chamber floor like the steady strike of a bell. She stood in the middle where all could see her. Steel crown on her head gathered the light until it flashed like a cold flame. Her voice broke the quiet with a steady weight that pressed on every ear. "You call us Deathworlders," she said. "We are wild and dangerous. Perhaps we are. But we did not choose this nature. While you lived in peace, our children fought hunger. While you rested in calm, our people worked against storm and quake. Hardship shaped us. You wonder why we do not kneel. The answer is simple. Nothing on earth ever knelt to us. We learned to stand because that was the only way to live." Her words fell heavy in the chamber. No one rose to argue. They remembered how her guards tried to stop her men and lost in seconds. They remembered how her soldiers stood tall while entire squads fell one by one. The truth of her words was visible in the bruised guards trying to catch their breath by the walls. Darius Holt stood firm behind her. His arms were crossed, his chest heaving from the fight, but his eyes glowed with pride. He kept it steady, in case the council tried once more to cheat with force. Julia Kane scanned the rows upon rows of rulers, as if daring any of them to step forward with challenge. Together they looked like a wall of iron, a sight stronger than the weapons they carried. Queen Alara's gaze swept across the chamber, meeting the eyes of every leader who tried to look away. She spoke again, her voice sharper now. "You believe that control makes you safe? Control is not safety. Control without strength is a mask that breaks when tested. You believe kneeling makes peace. Kneeling is not peace. Kneeling is fear wrapped in silence. We have no silence inside us. Earth has storms that never rest, seas that roar, fires that devour forests in a day. If we kneel, we are not human. If we kneel, we betray the blood of those who stood before us. You may bow to fear, but we do not bow at all." A murmur passed through the council chamber. Some rulers looked at one another with wide eyes, some clenched their fists, and some looked down in shame. They saw the truth before them. Force could not break this queen. Fear could not break her warriors. Death itself had failed. What hope had they? The silence returned. It was no longer only fear, it was surrender. Their voices could not find words to answer her. The humans had spoken, and the sound of it broke the order they thought could never be shaken. Julia Kane stepped forward next to her queen. She raised her voice just enough to carry to the entire chamber. "You thought we were weak because we stand alone. We are never alone. Each of us carries earth inside. It is in the scars, in the hands, in the heart. That is why you can never make us bend." Luke placed himself on the other side, steady like a tower. Darius stood close as a shield of flesh and bone. The queen lifted her head, her steady breath filling the silence, her words already carved into history. The council had summoned Earth to scold it. Instead, they had heard Earth speak back. The words were not soft. They were hard and sharp like stone, and that stone would remain long after the echoes faded. The chamber remained filled with silence, but it was no longer the silence of control. It was the silence of rulers who had seen the truth and could not deny it. The guards lay on the stone floor, defeated, breathing hard, their weapons scattered. The humans stood untouched, solid and unbroken, the strength of Earth alive in their bodies and eyes. Queen Alara turned slowly to look across the many faces above. None of them spoke. None dared to shout another order. Their pride had been torn away, and in its place fear had taken root. She lifted her chin higher, and her voice spread across the wide hall. "Now you know why Earth does not kneel," she said. "You sent threats, and you sent blades. What you received in return was not surrender, but resistance. This is not because we seek war. It is because we are made to fight when forced. You see us as dangerous. You are correct. We are dangerous to those who try to chain us. But we have no wish to chain you. We only wish to stand free." Her words shook the hall. Some rulers tried to form replies, but none found the courage to rise and speak against her. Captain Luke Ward kept his weapon ready at his side, steady and calm, watching each move in the shadows of the chamber. Commander Julia Kane stood firm near the Queen, her stance protective like a shield of living steel. Representative Darius Holt crossed his arms over his chest, a quiet mountain who made it clear that the Queen's words were also his. One older ruler rose from his seat. His voice was low and shaken. "Then what do you ask?" he said. "What does Earth want from this council?" The Queen turned her eyes toward him. Her gaze carried no cruelty. She only answered with clarity. "We ask nothing but respect. No more patrols in our skies. No more demands that we kneel. Earth governs itself. That is all." The simple strength of her answer was heavier than any threat. Every person in that chamber understood she could have asked for far more. The humans had defeated the guards and could have claimed power or territory, but she did not. She stood with pride but not greed. That difference made her words burn even deeper into the hearts of those watching. Luke lowered his weapon slowly but kept it in hand. Julia's alert stance softened only a little, though her eyes still searched the room for movement. Darius shifted his weight but stayed like a wall of stone. None of them showed weakness. Each carried the image of Earth in the way they held themselves. It was clear they were not finished even if the fight was done. One by one, the rulers began to bow their heads. It was not respect in the beginning, but it was submission to the truth. They could not crush these humans. They could not shame them, could not rule them. By bowing, they admitted what they had denied for so long. Earth was strong, unbroken, and untamed. Queen Alara took one last look at the vast chamber, not as a threat, but as a treasure of finality. "Remember what you have seen today. If ever you doubt, the memory of this hall will remind you, Earth does not bend. Earth does not break." Without waiting for reply, she turned and began the long walk out of the chamber. Luke followed at her right side, Julia at her left, and Darius close behind. Each step of theirs struck the floor with certainty, echoing in the ears of every ruler still seated in silence. When the great doors closed behind them, the rulers of the council remained frozen. They had gathered to force Earth into chains. Instead, Earth had broken the very idea of chains and had walked away freer than before. That day was remembered not because a battle was fought, but because the humans spoke with their will. It was the day when the whispers of Deathworlders were proven true. It was the day when the galaxy learned that Earth would never be controlled. And from that day forward, whenever the name of humans was spoken, it was not with scorn, but with fear and respect.